unfortunate. Most unfortunate. For you are about to hear cemetery tales here in this place where the tortured souls seek to drown their eternal sorrow, a thirst that goes unquenched. I would like to introduce you to my friend, Glenn Gould, our master of unnatural ceremonies, who will lighten your mood before tonight's tale.
My wife said, with all the rare flesh I consume, it's no wonder I have heart trouble. My heart's as cold as ice. I said, what do you want me to do? You want me to call the neighbors? You want Herschel to come over here and sew his head onto my neck? You'll have somebody to talk to. She said, don't bother, Glenn. You're already so two-faced. Oh, I love it when she talks like that. Maybe later I'll read the Bible to her. Yes, so one does try to cut corners. I was cutting my hair and lopped my head right off. I asked my wife for a needle and thread. She wouldn't even do that. My head is just sitting on my neck. My wife has been a little on edge lately. See, last winter we had to bury our daughter alive. Well, I'm sorry. I get a little excited when I talk about it. Let me defer to my friend. You might recognize him as a great digger of graves. Tell me, old sport, what's the name of your gruesome tale tonight?
Well, Glenn, our first tale tonight is Bless the Righteous. Enjoy.
Hello, this is Helen. Oh, hello, Gary. Yes, Betty and I got home from church just now. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Sally! Sally, are you home? Come along, Betty. Your Uncle Gary will be here any moment to measure for the new floor, and I need to start dinner. Please check on your brother. Yes, Mother. He's still in the Iron Maiden. Make sure he's alive.
Help!
Still alive, Mother. Dear brother, have you learned your lesson?
Get me out of here, you twisted bitch!
Mommy, Travis called me that word again.
Travis! Just for that, you'll spend another night in there.
I can't stand it any longer! The spikes! God help me!
Don't use God's name in vain.
Ah!
Betty, why don't you be a good little girl in color?
Yes, Mother.
Oh, my word. There's nothing to fix for dinner tonight. I guess I can at least start chopping these carrots. Oh, that must be your Uncle Gary. Who is it?
It's your brother-in-law, of course. Feeling skittish, Helen?
You can never be too careful, Gary. Besides, Sally's late. Choir practice was over hours ago.
I wouldn't be so sure. And how is my little Betty doing today?
I'm doing well, Uncle Gary. Thanks ever so for asking.
Betty, you're not coloring in the lines. Color in the lines.
Yes, Mother. I'm sorry.
Don't let it happen again.
You don't think perhaps you're being a bit harsh?
Not at all. Who wants a daughter who'll go around coloring outside the lines willy-nilly whenever she pleases?
Well, I don't know. Say, Travis isn't still...
In time out. Very much.
Uncle Gary, please help me. For the love of all that is holy, help! I can't stand any longer.
You sure get a lot of use out of that Iron Maiden.
Best yard sale find I've ever purchased. All it needed was a good cleaning, and it was good as new.
What did Travis do again to get put in there?
He called his sister one of those dirty words.
Don't you think the punishment is a bit much?
Not at all. Language is sacred. Besides, that's not the reason he got a timeout in the first place.
What was the original reason?
Let me see.
I believe he didn't eat his vegetables.
I didn't clean my room. But I'll clean it now. I'll clean the whole fucking house.
Are you talking back?
No, God, no.
You can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar.
What are you talking about? You catch flies with fly paper and bug zappers.
I'm just saying, there's something to be said for leniency.
Yes. Spare the rod, spoil the child? No, thank you. A spoiled child is a blight on a healthy home that festers forever. Shouldn't you be measuring the room?
Yes, I should.
Jim wanted meatloaf for dinner, and there's no meat in the house. At least I can start chopping these carrots.
Where is old Jimbo?
Nicknames are adolescent antics, Gary. And he's playing golf, of course.
Of course. Maybe you could order something.
Order something? What kind of a homemaker would that make me?
A busy one.
I'm never too busy to cook dinner, Gary. Oh, that must be Sally. Sally, is that you?
Yes, Mother. I can hear your indoor voice just fine. Calm down.
Where have you been, young lady?
After choir practice, Satan and I went to lunch at Shahoni's.
Who?
Satan. He's an alto. Say hello, Satan.
Hey.
Pardon?
Hey. I said hey.
Hey is for horses, Satan.
Oh, right. Hello, I guess. Or whatever.
Aren't you charming? Sally, why did you bring Satan home with you? Doesn't he have his own home?
Well, Mother, I wanted you to meet him. We're going steady.
How wonderful.
I see.
Run, Satan, run!
Quiet. Sally, why don't you take out the garbage?
Now,
Yes. Satan and I need to have a little chat.
yes, Mother.
So, Satan, have a seat. Betty, please hold Mother's butcher knife.
Yes, Mother.
The butcher knife.
I can't hear you, Satan. Get your hands away from your mouth.
Why do you need the butcher knife?
Betty,
Yes, Mother.
show Satan how good you are at pinfinger.
What's pen finger, huh?
We'll show you. Put your hand palm down on the table. Here, let me help you. Very good. Now, spread your fingers apart. Ooh, very good.
A hell of a grip you got there, Helen.
Now, Betty, stab between his fingers. Show Satan how fast you can stab. Betty,
Holy fuck.
language.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Satan, what are your intentions with my daughter?
My intentions?
That's right. What exactly do you intend to do with my daughter?
Only what she tells me to.
Betty?
What did I say?
What if she tells you to run away with her? Would you do that?
No, of course not.
So, what are your intentions with my daughter?
I just want to take her to prom. Buy her a corsage, maybe. That's it.
Wrong answer. Betty.
What are my intentions with your daughter?
You want to bring her to Jesus.
But we met at choir practice.
Always room for more Jesus.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes to Jesus.
Betty. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Here she comes. Say nothing.
Well, how was the talk?
Enlightening. Wasn't it, Satan?
Can Satan stay for dinner?
Absolutely not. I have to make meatloaf and there's no meat in the house. He has to go home.
I'm his bride.
Be back by 5.
Yes, mother.
Good girl, Betty.
Thank you, Mother.
Give Mommy's knife back. Now go get Mommy's pills out of the medicine cabinet upstairs.
The Vicodin, Mommy?
The Oxy, please. Mommy's super stressed.
My God, Helen. That was amazing.
Ooh, don't take the Lord's name in vain, Gary.
You have no idea how turned on I am.
Now, you're married to my sister. No other woman should be attractive to you.
I have to confess, Hel, I've always had a crush on you.
Gary, please.
As a matter of fact, I only married your sister so I could be closer to you.
Gary.
I love you, Helen.
Ugh, Gary, please.
Leave Jim. Come with me. I can make you happy. You won't have to make meatloaf or raise any kids. I hate kids.
Gary!
We can just make out and fuck and order delivery.
Gary, I am warning you.
Helen, stop chopping carrots and kiss me.
How was church today, Helen?
Ooh, inspiring. We're reading the book of Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah, yes.
How was golf?
Par.
Satan said it was a pleasure meeting you today, Mother.
A pleasure for me, too. Eat your carrots.
Darling, this meatloaf is absolutely divine.
Thank you, dear.
I'm so hungry.
You should have thought of that before you sassed me.
Mother, may I have some more?
Of course, sweetums. There's plenty. We'll have leftovers for a week.
Bless the Righteous. Elizabeth Goins as Helen and Betty, Brett Porcina as Sally, Sam Rutherford as Satan, Bill Mitchell as Gary and Jim, Lindsay Johns Bennett as Travis, written by Chip Wilder, music by Bill Mitchell.
Well, sounds like old Gary got his boner caught in a butcher knife. Just like he always did. That Helen really turned him on. Reminds me of me and my wife. My wife turns me on with a switch. My wife said, Glenn, why can't you buy us any food for the house? And maybe we could have some air conditioning. I said, because you're as pallid as a dying daisy, and damp as the dew, just the way I like it. Well, here's another one for you, kiddies. It takes place on the Atlantic seaboard at the turn of the 21st century. It's about a house that rubs people the wrong way, and kind of like my house. But mostly, it's a story about acquaintances and how terror is a great way to bring people together. Well, Gravedigger, old chum, you look good. Sallow and thin and perfectly wretched. Now to close out the night, do you want to take it away, old sport?
Our second tale tonight is Haunted Housewarming, Chapter 1.
The mansion stood tall and imposing on its overgrown hilltop, insinuating itself into the gaze of anyone who ventured too close. Megalithic limestone composing its structure refused to be reabsorbed into the nature that had reclaimed so much of the estate. Even the cascades of hard rain that fell upon the zigguratic forms had no effect on its air of intransigence. Charles thought so anyway. He was a generally unexcited person whose face was lined by hard-earned experience. He'd received a letter in the previous day's mail. In calligraphic script it read, 235 Ronaldo's Hollow, night, March the 7th, be there, ellipses. He didn't understand, but the handwriting was quite pleasant and piqued his curiosity. Suddenly, another figure appeared.
Hello? Hello there.
Yes?
Hello. Have you come because of the letter?
I have. You know what this is about?
No idea. Thought the handwriting was quite nice, though. Figured it's a good excuse to see the old landmark up close.
About the same here. Charles.
Thomas Kilgod. Pleasure. Well, should we go in? Or do you think more are coming?
Woohoo! You gentlemen hear from the letter?
Yes. We assume you are.
Do we?
I assume we do.
I'm Barbara. No idea what this is about. I was finishing up a piece for the Gazette and a delivery boy brought in a letter addressed to me.
This better not be about the zoning meeting last month. I've been known to ruffle a few feathers over there.
I get a bit more of a weighty feeling about all this. I feel we're in for a rather dull evening with the new owner of this old place.
It may be dawning on them that they've made a terrible mistake buying an antique home. So they want folks from the neighborhood to reassure them and commiserate.
Well, in this kind of weather, my thoughts turn to a warm beverage. I'll be satisfied in my efforts, the time taken, the all but certain awkwardness of the introductions and activities to follow, if a rich single malt is offered straight away.
I would rather drop dead than spend another dreary evening making nice with some newly arrived society wits. There isn't enough Scotch in Scotland to grease such a rusty wheel.
Well, that begs the question, why did you accept the invitation?
Alas, my curiosity got the better of me. The invitation was headed to the trash can, but the scent of lavender wafted off the page, and the curls of the lettering seemed a bit painstaking, even pastoral compared to the hurried writing I see all day in the city.
You seem to have a wild imagination, Barbara. That's stuff and nonsense. You're a newspaper woman, plain and simple. To you, any party is irresistible.
Well, with the two of you around, I can tell this is going to be a sensational evening. It's freezing out here. Who do we have to kill to be let in?
Barbara, as a newspaper woman, you must have some idea why we're here. A clue?
No clue at all.
You know something, yeah. J'accuse.
All I can tell you right now, Thomas, is to cool your jets. And Charles, you want entertainment? Then you better bring something to the table.
The front door begins to swing open with a long, creaking groan. From the dimly lit foyer, Juliana Maddox stepped into the porch light at the doorway. A stoic woman, slightly amused with having overheard the guests' exchange. She smiled and invited them in.
Hello. Welcome to the home of Javier and Isabella Ronaldo. I am Juliana Maddox, a friend of the Ronaldos and a trustee of the Historic Society that has assisted in the Escalier House's preservation. Miss Barbara Bettinger, Mr. Thomas Gilgoud, and Mr. Charles Dumfries. Do come in.
Thank you, Juliana.
Yes, happy to... Impressive old structure here.
Happy to be invited.
Juliana took hold of a spring-loaded mechanism bolted to the wall as she gestured for the guests to enter. After they walked in, she labored to wind the lever, closing the door behind them.
We'll join the Ronaldos in the parlor. Right this way.
To any casual observer, the mechanism would appear overwrought and unwieldy for simply opening and closing a door. A passerby would not be blamed if they suspected such mechanisms had ulterior functions. But for now, our guests can only imagine that the knots of rusted gears with which Juliana struggled were nothing more than superfluous vestigial components of a once ambitious and now forgotten over-engineered automatic door technology. And they could be correct in thinking so. Isabella and Javier Ronaldo were already deeply engrossed in conversation with their acquaintances, the doctors, Amos Whitmore and Valerie Kustanovich. Javier and Amos stood by the fireplace, while Isabella and Valerie sat on overstuffed leather chairs, leaning in. None of them noticed the next round of guests until Juliana announced them.
Miss Barbara Bettinger, Mr. Thomas Gilgoud, and Mr. Charles Dumfries. I present to you Isabella and Javier Ronaldo, and their guests, Dr. Valerie Kustanovich and Dr. Amos Whitmore.
Ah, Dr. Valerie and Dr. Amos. We always seem to miss each other at the Historic Society gatherings. A pleasure to see you both.
Ah, hello, Thomas.
Thomas?
I hope you will reconsider my application to put the Springwater property up for a vote to be declared an historic landmark at some point. Sure would mean a lot to the artisan community.
It's next on our list of items to reconsider, Thomas.
Refreshments will be served shortly. I'll be preparing for your move to the study.
It is nice to meet all of you, and this is a very impressive building. If we could have some idea of what the occasion is exactly, that would be welcome information.
Ah, Mr. Charles Dumfries. I like a man who's straight to the point. My apologies for the mystery surrounding your invitation. My lovely wife Isabella and I are trying to keep a tight lid on things, you see.
This is true, Javier, my dear. We are delighted that you came, though, Charles, despite your ignorance.
Beyond Juliana, Dr. Whitmore, and Dr. Kustanovich, I am a stranger to you. Isabella and I are somewhat new to town, you see, and cannot be certain who to trust with... Well, in any event, I have brought you here for a special purpose. You see, we believe we found an artifact of great importance and value.
So what's that got to do with us?
Well, I'll tell you. Barbara Bettinger, we'd like for you to write a piece in the paper announcing the discovery and ownership of this particular artifact. Thomas Gilgard, you are here to appraise its authenticity and worth.
Thomas, you're an appraiser? You didn't mention that.
Well, no one asked.
And Charles Dumfries, you are here to bear witness to these events as a layman.
I see.
Javier, perhaps it's best if you show them the artifact now.
You're right, of course, Dr. Ramos. My penchant for the dramatic tends to carry me away at times. Very well, everyone. Let's adjourn to my study where Juliana is preparing our arrival. Amos, please continue your ramblings. You were saying that the best antiques, religious antiques that is, were...
Sprung from the hands of devilish people, seeking to elevate themselves and their eternal spirits. Swinish people who wished only to impress and to snivel and simper.
Ah, that's why our treasure is so unusual. It is a thing of purity of intention. And in turn, we may take a glimpse into its revelations, and for a moment, elevate ourselves, our minds.
I don't mind the sound of that. Let's get elevated, huh?
Yes, Thomas, you like novelty, excitement.
Novelty? Excitement? Yes.
That presents a wonderful paradox, doesn't it? You champion the old ways, but you, like the rest of us, yearn for something new, a new buzz at every turn.
Is there a cure for that, Doctor?
Anyway, Charles, you see, we humans, we go on and on every day in our everyday lives, in an everyday world. It's easy to forget that we have the ability to be at all times cognizant of a profound meaning to our every action. What you're talking about, Charles, ties in nicely with what we do here, Isabella and I. We like to see the elevation of circumstances facilitate a free and easy state of mind for all who wish it. The occasion to contemplate finery, to consider this artifact, for instance, has unseen benefits. Our surroundings affect us, and find surroundings heighten us, and allow us to rise to our best selves.
What Javier may circuitously aspire to express is that we are interested in having a chat with the good folks of the museum. A brief arrangement with their fine establishment, given the most favorable conditions, could be quite beneficial to all parties involved.
Well, after Mr. Gilgard assesses the provenance of the artifact, I would certainly be happy to reach out to my contacts at the museum. There's nothing like an exotic exhibition to stir the spirits in the community.
Exactement. Juliana, would you be so kind as to set the timer on the vault? We'll have hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and the big reveal. I'll let you be the judge of how well the evening's festivities synchronize with the chamber's unlocking sequence.
It would be my pleasure, Isabella.
Thank you. Now everyone, please enjoy these hors d'oeuvres. We have Spanish caviar, black truffle bruschette, and duck confit.
Can I offer anyone a drink? I have an excellent single malt scotch. Or...
A fine scotch? Well, twist my arm, Javier. I could try one of those.
Good man, Thomas.
Well, this caviar is great.
It certainly is. Hell of a spread you have for us here, Javier. That framed map there with the creek. Is that the pre-industrial topography of the neighborhood?
Good eye, Doctor. Indeed it is. In fact, the valley at the centerpiece lines up with the view through our garden.
On a clear night, it's magnificent. Never mind that the valley is now the abandoned quarry. It's so overgrown, most people aren't the wiser. You know, if you'll excuse me one moment, I'll check the sight lines now, and maybe we could all take it in.
Isabella, it's probably nothing, but I saw Juliana step into the hallway a moment ago. She looked pretty concerned and kind of off kilter, but walked quickly back down the hall, a bit wobbly, frankly.
Oh, she knows this place like the back of her hand, but not me. The Escalier House, as it's known, has enough idiosyncrasies to confuse a Swiss clockmaker.
It certainly does, and that's why we love it. I know the folks in historic zoning have blocked more than one attempt over the years to modify it. Maybe I'm showing off a little, but I happen to even know there's a lavatory just beyond
Through the den. On the right, Thomas.
Oh, of course. Thank you. I'll be right back.
Isabella, what is the story of this house? When was it built?
Might want to get your notepad out there, Barbara. Sounds like we're getting some background for your story.
Thank you, Charles. On that note, I have a question for you as well, Isabella, if you don't mind.
Of course. But I have to say, there's one question I get that's just as predictable as the porch lights that I'm turning on with these timers.
And what is that, Miss Isabella?
It's just a remote control. For some of the electronics in the house, you know, lights, the intercom.
No. What is the predictable question?
Oh, of course. Well, everyone always wants to know if I, Isabella, and Javier Ronaldo are related to the namesake of the very street where the Escalier house sits, at 235 Ronaldo's Hollow.
Yes, I'd say that's a good question with which to start.
Well, I hate to leave you in suspense, but Juliana actually is taking a bit too long. I'm sure this will just take a moment. Please enjoy yourselves. Eat, drink, and I'll be right back.
It was only a moment after Isabella left the room that a terrible sound bellowed up from below the floor of the study. A quick succession of heavy mechanical clicks echoed through the marble halls. A woman screamed out, her voice trailing off and lost in the reverberating metal thuds, until it all slowed down and faded into a terrible silence. There, in the study, Dr. Valerie Kustanovich, Charles Dumfries, Barbara Battinger, and Dr. Amos Whitmore looked at each other, stunned, all thinking the same thing.
What the devil was that?
Haunted Housewarming. Bill Mitchell as Charles Dumfries, Sam Rutherford as Thomas Kilgod, Dicey Wildman as Barbara Bettinger, Stephanie Adams as Juliana Maddox, Will Rutherford as Dr. Amos Whitmore, Lindsay John Spinnett as Dr. Valerie Kustanovich, Elizabeth Goins as Isabella Ronaldo, Adam Nicholson as Javier Ronaldo. Narrated by Adam Nicholson. Written by Adam Nicholson, Bill Mitchell, and Sam Rutherford. Music by Mitchell, Nicholson, Rutherford, and Nick Binnett.
Well, I had an interesting morning today. Specifically, I've been mourning the death of someone very close to me. Close by proximity only. You see, I was in a bit of a rush to leave the house this morning, and I backed over the neighbor's young son repeatedly. My wife was very angry with me until she realized what I had done. I told the neighbor, "Listen, Herschel, I did you a favor. These little guys are expensive." I was asking Herschel what method of contraception he and his wife enjoyed the best. He said, "I don't know, Glenn. You're the one with an apothecary for a wife." He said he leaves that up to the missus to discuss with her lady friends. I said, "Well, it's a good thing someone's talking dirty to my wife." He said, "Oh, you call that dirty?" I said, "Well, it certainly isn't clean at this point once you've added the herbs and spices." Well, that's all the time we have this evening. Dig me up next month for some more stories.
Another evening at the Helmuth. It has been very diverting, my friends. Alas, time has come for us to say goodbye. But Glyn, Gravedigger, and I sincerely hope that we meet again soon, in this life or the next.
Cemetery Tales, produced by Bill Mitchell, sound effects by Cyrus Cypress Hill Davis, theme by Bill Mitchell, Sam Rutherford as Glenn Gould and the Tomb Watcher, and Bill Mitchell as the Gravedigger.